Hey guys, I'm here doing the button tree wall hanging. This is a pattern by Karen Montgomery, and you actually make this cute little wall hanging here. And you have to put these buttons on. And I didn't know it, but my machine can sew buttons on for me. So I thought this would be a cool little tutorial for you guys, kind of show you how it works on my machine at least. It actually surprised me how many machines can sew buttons on, and what a great time saver for a cute little project. So I'm not going to go into detail on how to get to this point. Karen's instructions do that really, really well. But for the button part, I used this Seam-Align glue, and you can see I wrote glue all over it so that I don't use it as my easy press. But I put a little dab of glue on the back of the buttons, and I placed them. She even shows you like how to measure out your tree and stuff. So this is a really cool pattern. Oh, and there's another pattern for a heart. So you can do the tree and the heart. We do have little kits for you guys at Poppy's that includes these different buttons. This is an ombre button pack that's really cute to use. So let me put you guys over here on my screen. So I have the Pfaff Quilt Expression 720. And first you're going to go to your different stitches. You're going to go down to 1.3 buttonholes and number 10. So this right here tells you the distance in between your buttonholes. So if your button's a little bit bigger and you have a wider, your holes are wider apart, then you're going to increase your size. On this button pack, I found that the bigger buttons needed to be around 5 and the smaller buttons needed to be around 3.5. But I did play with it for a little bit to figure that out. This right here is how many times it's going to go back and forth in between your buttonholes. And then this is tension. So on the Pfaff, something that's really cool about this machine is up here in this top corner, it's going to tell you what foot you need. So on this one, it doesn't have a foot, so you have to actually remove your foot and disengage your IDT. So I'm going to bring you guys down to my machine. Okay, so we need to remove the foot, and we're just going to use the ankle here in the needle. So let's start with one button. I'm going to kind of walk you through this a couple times just so you guys can see it. But on the Pfaff machine, if you press, there's a button up here to put the foot down. If you press it one more time, it lifts it just that little bit more, and then you can move your project. And as you start to do this a little bit more, like the more buttons you do, the more you get the hang of where it should be. And so I think I'm good right there, but I'm still going to check myself, and I'm going to hand crank the needle down, make sure that it lines up in that hole, and then I'm going to start it. And you can either just push your foot pedal down to make it go, or you can press the start stop button. On my machine, it does the amount of times that I wanted, so 8 times, and then it stops. And then I can cut my thread, and then I can move to the next button. So I did all the same size buttons first, and then I'm going back and I'm doing the smaller ones now. That way I didn't have to change between the sizes a whole bunch. I'm going to show you again. I'm going to lower the foot, raise it up that little bit, line it up. I noticed that you kind of want to line up the ankle kind of here, and then there's just a little bit of space in between where the holes are here and where your ankle is. Again, it's just something that you kind of pick up on the more that you do for this project. I'm going to hand crank my needle down. And then I'm going to hand crank my needle down on the other side to make sure that it also matches up with that second hole. And then I'm just going to let it finish off. And you guys will see on this one in particular, this little loop right here. If you actually end up turning the project over, you're able to pull those back through so that you don't have these here. Same with this one up here. So I did a bunch of them, and then I flipped it over and I started pulling them back through. And then I forgot to cut my thread, but that's okay. We're going to go to the next hole, and I will just cut it after. And so again, hand crank it down. I am lined up, and I'm just gonna let it run. And then I'm gonna cut my thread. I'm gonna get you guys just a little bit closer for one more. And if you put all of your buttons kind of the same direction, then you don't have to sit here and turn your project around a bunch of times. Sorry if I just made somebody sick. I would not have appreciated that. I'm so sorry. But if you kind of keep the holes like all horizontal or all vertical, then you kind of just get to move along with your project. So I'm going to put the ankle down, lift it back up a little bit. And then, again, once you get the hang of it, you don't have to hand crank it down to make sure it's in place. But if you see this little guy right here, I actually have thread going through the middle of my button because I missed the hole. So just be careful if you are not checking yourself, because that is how you can break a needle. But all you're going to do is keep doing that, do all your buttons. It is a lot of buttons, but it actually goes a lot quicker than you would think, because you are machine sewing buttons down, which I think is really cool. So once you finish that, you'll go back to the directions and you'll end up putting the backing onto this, and you end up folding it over and creating like a mitered border here, and then you're done. So hopefully that's helpful for somebody. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Again, there are kits available at Poppy Quilt and Sew if you would like the button packs and those 2 patterns. All right, see y'all later. Bye.